What could be better than a s'mores cake? This one is delicious because it has an ice cream layer and it is finished with burnt marshmallows on top. Let me tell you something, this is gonna be the next s'mores you're gonna want. This cake has everything that a s'mores does. Graham crackers baked right into the cake, a chocolate ice cream layer in the middle because who doesn't want a s'mores and ice cream? A chocolate ganache made into a frosting that encompasses both the center of the cake and on top, and then marshmallows all over the top, burned, of course, because it's a s'mores that you won't even need to build a campfire for. And it's all coming up on today's Wise Guide. My family's coming over and I am throwing a birthday party for my nephew Kyan. He is adorable and I'm so excited to have everyone over and have a big party out on my back patio. I have the lights up, a few decorations, and you of course need a delicious cake. Kyan loves anything chocolate, so to make this over the top, this isn't just a s'mores cake, but it has an ice cream filled center. A delicious ice cream layer of a deep dark chocolate is right in the middle of this cake, and then a ganache frosting. This is seriously not only one of my favorite cakes, but I think it's gonna be one of the kids too. This cake has graham cracker crumbs right inside of the cake. I like to grind my graham crackers in a food processor. So just break them up into the food processor so they break down a little bit quicker. Once they're all broken up, you can just grind them into a fine crumb. You just wanna make sure they're pretty fine, there's no large chunks. Add them right into your mixing bowl, along with some regular all-purpose flour. It's mostly graham crackers with just a little bit of flour. Next, add your sugar, some baking powder, and salt. Mix that together until it's just evenly combined. Then take some room temperature butter and add it 1 tablespoon at a time. This is kind of a reverse creaming method, which means you're not gonna cream the sugar and the butter together, but instead you're gonna cream the butter right into the dry ingredients. It's really gonna help it have a moist, delicious crumb at the end. After the butter's added, just let it mix until it creates kind of a wet sand texture. You won't see any large chunks of butter, but it will really just look like wet sand. For the wet ingredients, mix them together in a large measuring cup. Start with your milk, add your eggs, and vanilla. Whisk that together till all the eggs are broken up and everything is evenly combined. With the mixer running, add about half of your milk mixture, let it mix until it's fully combined, and then add the rest. Mix it for about 30 seconds until it's really well mixed and everything is combined. To prepare your pans, just spray them with some nonstick baking spray, and then I like to put some parchment in the bottom of each pan. I like to buy these pre-cut rounds of parchment because it's really easy. If not, you can just cut one out of some parchment paper. Spray the top of the parchment, that way it won't stick to the cake also. Evenly distribute your batter between each pan, and just put them right into a preheated oven. These bake fairly quickly because they're pretty thin, but you're gonna get that toasty aroma in no time. To make sure your cakes are fully done, just insert a skewer into the middle of the cake and make sure it is not still liquid and there's only 1 or 2 crumbs sticking to it. Once they're baked, you can just remove them from the oven and let them cool. After they're cool to the touch, you can just turn them out onto a rack and let them cool completely. If you're always working ahead like I am, at this point you can wrap them up and put them in the freezer up to 2 weeks, or you could assemble your cake once they're completely cooled. For the ice cream center, I like to prepare that beforehand so it doesn't get too soft. To do that, I take the same size cake pan that I baked the cakes in, line it with plastic wrap, and then just put my ice cream directly into there. Now I'm using a homemade ice cream because, well, because I just do. But you can of course use a bought-in ice cream or a homemade one. If you want my chocolate ice cream recipe, I'll put a link in the description box because believe me, it's good. Just let your ice cream soften if you've bought an ice cream or if it has been in the freezer. Once the ice cream is softened, just put it right into your plastic-lined baking pan, spread out into an even layer, wrap it up, and put it right back in the freezer. Once it's fully hard and set, probably about 4 to 6 hours, you can assemble your cake. That way, that layer is ready to go and you don't have to spread it out and have it kind of dripping down all over. I prepare the ganache for the frosting about 2 hours before. You want to fully come to room temperature before you whip it. Heat up some heavy cream until it's steaming. I really just like to do this in the microwave because why dirty another pan? While the cream is heating up, you can just chop up your chocolate. I'm using a mixture of semi-sweet and dark. You can really use any chocolate you want, but if you stick with the semi-sweet or darker, it's gonna be a little bit more firm once it's set up. The finer you chop up the chocolate, the quicker it's gonna melt. Once it's all chopped up really finely, just add it to your bowl. Add just a little bit of butter. That's really gonna help with the flavor and help it be smooth and shiny. When your cream has started just to steam, pour it over all the chocolate and butter. Let it sit for about 5 minutes, and then just stir it really slowly until it gets shiny and smooth. Could that be any easier? No, ganache is easy. Now all you need to do is let it fully come to room temperature. You'll notice it definitely sets up, and if it's not coming quick enough, you can put it into the fridge for about 10 minutes at a time, take it out and stir it, but you just don't wanna let it get too hard because the fridge will definitely make chocolate set. Once it's at room temperature, you can just add it to your mixing bowl and then whip it on high until it is a frosting consistency. Seriously, it takes like 45 seconds. And it's frosting. How simple is that? And then just assemble your cake. Since my sister's over, she is of course gonna help me. She is amazing in the kitchen. She cooks for all her kids almost every night, always homemade food, so believe me, she knows what she's doing. To make this cake, we just start with one layer of our cake that we already have made, and then just add a little bit of that chocolate ganache frosting. Just a thin layer, it's gonna be a good marriage between the cake and the ice cream layer. Just unwrap that ice cream that we prepared, put it right on top of that ganache. If it sticks out a little bit past your cake, you can just trim it off, but just make sure they're all even. Add a little bit more of that ganache frosting on top of the ice cream. Once you put it on something cold, it will set right away. Just spread it out evenly and then add on your top cake layer. To finish, we're gonna add in all that frosting. Yeah, it's a lot, but it's delicious. Make a big dollop on top, just spread a little bit down the sides. I like to make this into more kind of like a naked cake and not frost the sides completely. That way you really see what's going on and you see it's an ice cream cake. And it's easier, you don't have to worry about it being perfect that way. So just put a little bit of frosting on the sides and then scrape it off. Now, this is a s'mores cake, so we had to add some marshmallows. A whole bunch of miniature marshmallows piled right on top. I just take a little kitchen torch and then burn them a little bit. If you have too big a flame, you're gonna melt all your chocolate. So just use a little kitchen torch and go quickly. And since this is a birthday, we put in a few extra little figurines on top, some animals for Kyan because he's gonna love them. This cake, once it's put together, it is ready to eat. If you wanna make it ahead of time, do not put the marshmallows on top and freeze it once you have that ganache on. Let it come to room temperature for about 15 minutes before serving, add the marshmallows, then you can toast them and then serve it. This is a delicious cake and it's an ice cream cake, so it's extra special. I know Kyan loved blowing out the candles on this cake because he couldn't have been smiling any bigger. And I think he ate it in about 2 seconds, along with everyone else. Enjoying a summer evening on the back patio, celebrating Kyan's birthday was a perfect evening. This has become one of my favorite ways to enjoy the idea of a s'mores, and I think it will be yours too. If you agree, make sure to like, share, subscribe. For the recipe, go to the description box. And until next time, have an awesome summer and enjoy some family time.